Ah, death, the inevitable end of all mortal things, the moment when life in all its complex beauty slips away into the unknown. What happens when we die? Is it the end of our consciousness, a simple cessation of existence, or is there something more? As an elder philosopher of the ancient Thracians, I invite you to join me in contemplation of this mysterious passage, where the boundary between the living and the dead is not as firm as we might imagine. Let us ponder death and the afterlife through the eyes of our ancestors, who have long gazed upon the stars and revered the spirits that inhabit the lands we walk upon. Before we can understand death itself, we must first ask a more fundamental question. What is the nature of life? We, the Thracians, see life not as an isolated event, but as a delicate balance between the forces of the earth, the heavens, and the spirits that move between them. Life is a gift, a fleeting moment in the grand cycle of nature. But as the seasons change, as the sun rises and sets, so too must life pass. We have learned through our rituals and our ancient beliefs that death is not to be feared, but to be embraced as an inevitable part of the natural order. Yet, what lies beyond death? Let us delve into this mystery together. In our tradition, the soul is the essence of a person, not merely the breath or blood that leaves the body at the moment of death. The soul is eternal, unbound by the physical limitations of the body. We understand it to be a force that transcends the realm of the living, just as the rivers and mountains transcend time itself. Our souls are made from the same stuff as the land and the sky, interconnected with the forces of nature and the divine. Do we not say that our souls are born from the earth and will one day return to it, as the trees shed their leaves to feed the soil? The great gods of our people play a role in guiding these souls, ensuring that they pass from this world to the next with honor and purpose. The soul is not simply an ethereal thing that floats aimlessly after death. No, it is a being with a purpose, seeking its rightful place in the afterlife. But how does one know where the soul goes upon death? How do we find our path? In our view, death is not the end, but a journey shaped by the gods and the spirits that inhabit this world. Our divinities, such as Bendis, the goddess of the hunt and the moon, and Zalmoxis, the god who speaks of immortality, offer us wisdom on the afterlife. Zalmoxis is particularly significant, as he is often seen as a god who represents the transition between life and death, the mediator between the living and the dead. Is it not fitting, then, that Zalmoxis, who knows both life and death, is the one to guide the souls of the departed? We believe that Zalmoxis takes on the role of guiding souls through their journey to the afterlife. His realm, a divine place of peace and eternal rest, is where souls find a final home. However, this passage is not always simple, for the soul must pass through the river Styx, a boundary between the land of the living and the land of the dead. The soul, in the Thracian view, must be strong enough to face the trials of this river and the spirits that guard it. But what of those who cannot make the journey alone? This is where our great warrior gods come in, such as Marsyas, who was both a symbol of sacrifice and an intermediary between the mortal and divine realms. We believe that those who have lived with honor and bravery are often accompanied by these spirits of warriors to help them through the trials after death. It is said that the spirits of the greatest heroes and leaders are given special favor in the afterlife, becoming honored ancestors whose wisdom is passed down to the living. Does this mean, then, that how we live in this world directly influences the peace of our afterlife? Our ancestors were keenly aware of the importance of rituals in guiding the soul after death. The act of burial was not simply a physical one, but a spiritual event, meant to ensure that the soul was properly honored and able to make its journey into the next realm. It is said that when a person dies, their soul must be separated from the body, yet the body itself must be respected. For the body is no mere vessel, it is a sacred container that has carried the soul throughout life. The burial is performed with reverence, often with offerings of food, drink, and treasures to accompany the deceased on their journey. The tombs of our ancestors are often marked with mounds, megalithic structures, and stone markers, serving not only as burial places, but also as spiritual guides for the dead. These sites are seen as sacred, providing the souls of the departed with protection and a sacred space where they can rest. But what happens to the soul of one who is not properly honored, whose body is lost or desecrated? Does that soul wander forever, unable to find peace? We also hold that the rituals performed by the living are not just for the dead, but for the living as well. By honoring the gods and our ancestors, we are able to connect with the spiritual world and ensure that the blessings of the divine are passed down through the generations. Every sacrifice, every prayer, every offering made in the name of the gods serves to maintain the balance between the living and the dead, ensuring that the souls of our ancestors are not forgotten and that their wisdom continues to guide us. While many of us believe that the soul journeys into the afterlife, there are some who believe that the soul may also return to the mortal world in a new body. This belief in reincarnation is not universal among our people, but it has been a part of our traditions for centuries. Can the soul, once it has experienced death, truly return to life in another form? Is this a cyclical process of growth and rebirth, where the soul, with each new life, is given the opportunity to grow wiser, stronger, and more attuned to the divine? There are those who claim that the souls of great warriors or revered ancestors may return to help guide the living in times of crisis. It is said that these souls can inhabit the bodies of newborn children, or even speak through the visions of the living. Perhaps this is why we honor our ancestors so dearly, for we understand that their presence may still be with us, guiding us as we navigate the challenges of life. Ultimately, the Thracian view of death is not one of fear, but of acceptance and reverence. Death is a part of the natural cycle, a journey that every soul must make. The gods and spirits guide us along this path, offering us protection and guidance. We do not fear death because we understand it to be a transition, not an end. The soul does not simply vanish when the body dies. It continues its journey, seeking peace, purpose, and connection with the divine.